What a beautiful morning. Great rain overnight, wasn't it fantastic? And when I left my home this morning, I knew it was going to be a great day. Why? Because there was a double rainbow. Anyone see the double rainbow? Wasn't it superb? I thought it was superb anyway. Lovely change of weather, and we always rely on Mother Nature. And when we rely on Mother Nature delivers. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is how your business can deliver for you and how you can look at the global impact and the organisational impact of your business. And Julie's asked me to speak on small to medium-sized business, and I'm going to see how you can align your business with nature. Nature's beautiful. Your business is your passion. Let's see how they align. I'd like you to think of a rainforest. How many of you walked through a rainforest? Rainforest is one of our most familiar living systems. Rainforest to your business is like cash flow to your business. The rain in the rainforest is your cash flow. The trees in your rainforest are your people. Now, one of the things that happens with trees and people is that trees will survive in the rainforest if they are the right trees. The people will survive in your organisation if they are the right people. But unfortunately, sometimes we get weeds. How many of you have got a weed in your business? Yes. And what happens is, the weeds are the people who we pick because they need a job, because my friend said they were fantastic, or because I just needed to get them in a hurry. Now let me show you. How many of you have seen those lovely little plants and they're great? Weeds usually have amazing flowers. Ever noticed that? Or they have really beautiful leaves. Because what happens is, we try to get them and then they come in and you'll see them and you'll see them come up. If you've ever seen them, they come up through the beautiful tree and then suddenly say, oh, that looks lovely, it covers that. And then at some stage later, that beautiful tree is gone. How does that relate to your people? I saw a couple of people who sort of said they have a weed in their organisation, but they actually didn't want to say, I've got a weed too, because there's an organisation that I've been working with that actually had a weed in their organisation. Took me a long time to convince the very considerate and caring CEO, because the CEO wanted to make sure he gave this person a chance. He gave the person a chance for far too long. And what happened is, finally the weed was weeded out. Had a meeting with that CEO a couple of weeks ago. I said to him, how are you going? Oh, it's fantastic. Everyone's working like it's really wonderful. You know, what happens is you try to make the decision and you think you're going to be nice about getting rid of the weed. But just think about keeping the weed because you're trying to be nice to that one person. Look at the impact that that one person has on the rest of your rainforest. It drinks the same amount of water. It takes extra nutrients from your ground. In other words, the products and the processes that you're trying to supply. Why? Because how many times have you seen the amount of extra effort you put in to trying to nurture the weed, to make it into a tree? It doesn't work. So, you can remove the weed gently, or all your healthy trees are going to remove themselves gently. What do you want? You know, there's quite a structured and reliable process to understand how you can get your right trees into your work rainforest. Often when I talk to micro and small businesses, they say, oh, you know, that's really expensive and we can't afford that. I will ask you how much time, effort and energy you put in to yourself, and not only your physical time but your emotional time, into the wrong person. I challenge you to look at your business as being not static. How many of you have walked through a beautiful rainforest, maybe the one down at the back of Budrum here that's got that beautiful rain waterfall? That's what I was trying to say. Waterfalls come from rain, don't they? The beautiful waterfall, the ones at Mount Tamborine. Or if you've been really fortunate, you've been up to Kuranda. How many of you have actually been through the rainforest? Now, I want you to think about what you remember most from that rainforest. What is it? Is it the trees? Is it the walk? Or is it the experience? What is it that you remember most? And most people will remember the experience. And the experience is your intangible. I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to live in the tropics for 23 years. The intangible there is the humidity. And you remember that pretty well. The rainforest couldn't survive without the humidity, but the humidity is the one thing that you can't see that make that rainforest grow. So there are many things in your business that people can't see, but they can feel. I'll give you some examples. I have some challenges technologically with my website, and I've had it attended to on 2 separate occasions. Both occasions the people have let me down and not fulfilled their contract. So I discovered this word called SEO. Everyone talks about SEO. How many people know what SEO really means? I don't. I don't know why I've got my hand up. So what happens is I go and I send an email to an organisation. I like to support the business on the coast. So I send this email to this organisation that said, we can do SEOs and we can do Google Words and we can do all this stuff for you. And wait a minute, I actually said what they actually said they would do. And now let me see what they said they can do. They said they are a multi-award-winning digital and crowdfunding wasn't in there when I did my research, but now it is, marketing agency in Australia servicing clients around the world. Who? We are fun mix of design, technical, strategic and marketing people with a great passion for creative things. So I thought, award-winning, works all around the world, they must know what they're doing. And by the way, I'd met the owner of this business on several occasions, so I sent them off an email and said, can you tell me all about this SEO, Google Words and stuff? And by the way, can I please have some training on my how to access my website, because I'd just like to upload a couple of things. And they sent me back a quote. Fantastic. But because of my poor experience previously, what did I do? I went, let me start at the beginning and see how much they deliver, because later on you'll see a couple of people will win my book, and there's an element in my book about trust. So the first thing about trust we look at is a contingent reward. Let me see if they will deliver the first thing that I'm going to ask them to deliver. So I write back and I say, thank you for your quote. I'll accept the training on the web, please. Not a problem, Brenda. That will be. And the price was in excess of what was double on the quote. So I did a little backflip and I sent them back an email and said, hey, wait a minute, you said the price was going to be X per hour, and now it's X plus 10%. Please explain. As one would, small business, got to look after your money, and not getting a lot of rain at the moment. So what happened was they come back and said, oh yeah, but that was for the whole quote, but you didn't accept the whole quote, so we're only going to give you this bit. So what does that mean? That means that the intangibles that they're trying to put on their website aren't working. Guess what? Their website's in drought, because you know what? They spend a lot of time then trying to send me an email. It's okay, we'll give you a discount. Yeah, but wait a minute, the discount still is more expensive than what the original quote was. So what's going on? When you start looking at what you promise to deliver, you deliver. Because it is not the tangibles that people look for, it is the intangibles. I'll give you another example. I like diversity in my life. I like a bit of colour. That's why I talk about the rainbows. You know, I always come in black. So when I start looking at the colour, I say, okay, a little bit of diversity. My husband had been at home for a while. I said, we need to do our shopping, you know, the regular boring weekend shopping. So we went to a different supermarket this weekend. So we went to a place that the website says, we source locally grown and produced products. We believe in supporting our local community. We like to do this happily and heartily, and we commit to delivering the very best shopping experience. And they are proud to have the best team to do this. I mean, that's a big ask. I went, okay, this sounds fantastic, you know, because I've got to have some data for my speeches. So I go off, we go to this place, right? We drive in. First thing's fantastic. My husband's slightly disabled, so we use the disabled car park. You know what? Right outside the front door. And guess what? It was vacant. Drive straight in. And by the way, there are other car parks available. Easy parking. Tick box number 1. So we go in and it's laid out beautifully. It's laid out beautifully, so I thought, I'll just check out these staff. So I'm really horrible like this, and people who have been to the event centre, I'm the deputy chairman there. You'll often see me in the queue at the loo. I'll ask people how they're going. They don't realise I'm the deputy chairman. They speak to me openly. It's fantastic. So what I do is I do my research. I stand there and I'm watching. You know, and I'm watching the people at the deli, because usually at the deli, what do? They stand there and they chat and they don't worry about you. So anyway, there's something that my husband eats that wasn't in the deli, so I thought, fantastic, I'll ask for it. So I go up and I say to the person at the deli, my husband's British born, do you have some pork pies? You know, anyone that comes from Britain, pork pies? Look, I'm getting some smiles around the room. Great, pork pies, because I know this chain of supermarkets have pork pies. There was none there. They go, yes, fantastic. And 2 of them then went off to get it. No, I'll get it. I mean, hello. Who usually argues about getting a pork pie? Thank you very much. I had to order 2. So I got 2. So then I'm walking up and down the aisles and I have a look and I go, hey, that's local and that's local and that's local. Now, I will say to you, this website delivered what it said it was going to deliver. But in fact, the website didn't. It was the people that did. And would I go back there and shop? Yes, I would. I'd even go so far as asking those people, would they order something in for me? And I'm sure they would. Was it a great experience? Yes, it was. Did they deliver on experience? Yes, they did. That's what your people who come into your rainforest actually want. Now, I will say it was only my first impression, but I will encourage you to think about the features of your business and what people actually buy from your business. Because what they actually buy, what they actually come in for, is different to what they buy. And at the event centre, and I'm not here to promote it, but at the event centre we understand that people come there not to be able to see the Melbourne Comedy Show or not to be able to see whoever happens to be on at the time, the dancers and whatever, I forget the program. They come there for an experience. So people think about it, what are the features that people come to you for? For me, my features in my business have not changed for 33 years. My products have, but my features haven't. So when you start looking at it, what are the features that are in your business that people come to your business for? What is it that the people come to your business for the features for? Because there is very few unique businesses that only sell what you sell. So why do they come to your business? Just like the supermarkets, think about the emerging process of your business. And there is someone that has done it really smart. They're a large business and they're getting larger. But now I'll encourage you, is the best time to be in small business. So as they're getting larger, you look at the RACQ. I'll ask somebody, what does RACQ do? What's their feature? Sorry? Roadside assist. What's their feature? People. What's their feature? Anyone else want to have a go at it? Healthy. Insurance. Actually, it's automobiles. Actually, I will challenge you that RACQ's feature is peace of mind. Peace of mind. Why? Because how many of you have seen on the RACQ website, I now only pay X amount a year, I don't know what it is, not on their website, on the TV. I don't know what it is. I now have my pet insurance. I now have my tradie insurance. I now can go to work knowing that I'm okay. So what is it? Their special feature, I suggest, is peace of mind. And when you start looking at what it is that the feature that they come to, so what else is it? Why else do you go to RACQ? Because of roadside assist, they say we're reliable. And in fact, I had a flat tyre in my husband's car and I was in an underground car park. I rang them. It was Boxing Day. They arrived within 20 minutes. You know what? I thought it was fantastic. I'm not a big person to post those sort of things, but I did. You know why? Because Boxing Day and they turn up in 20 minutes. Do you reckon that's pretty good service? How many of you know about that now? So I told you about RACQ. I didn't tell you about the website, people. Didn't tell you their name. But guess what? There's ways of finding out those things if someone doesn't do it, because that's usually the thing that happens at the barbecue. It might happen over the glass of champagne on Friday night, but people will tell other people. So I will encourage you to say that your business is an evolving, dynamic system, just as a rainforest is a evolving, dynamic system. And one of the things to keep your business a sustainable business is to start delivering on what you promise you'll deliver. And to continue to deliver on what you promise to deliver. I'll give you another example. I was getting some sign writing done on my office. This is sort of my corporate colour. It's varying shades of green, depending on what colour I get up in the morning. And I chose the wrong colour on the you come into the ground floor and this, you know, the boards, I don't have the technical name for it, the board that has your name on it, at the bottom. And they put my name on there, the company name on there, which was the same as it went on the glass. It looked fantastic on the glass, it looked lousy on the board. I went back to the guy and said, hey, guess what? I chose the wrong colour. I took ownership for my own mistake. Many business people don't do that. They'll blame the client. First thing I did, I said, I took the wrong colour. Can you tell me if you can replace that and how much it will cost me? He said yes and no. And I thought, does that mean no, he won't place it, yes, it'll cost me? Or did he get it round the wrong way? But you know what? Sine wave came, he replaced both of the things on the board, and guess what? Said, don't worry about it, we all make mistakes. He didn't have to do that, but he did. You know why? Because he said, we're greater than signs, we're a small business on the coast, and we want to look after our customers. So, you know, the thing about being a small business is that you've got adaptability and flexibility to be able to make the decisions that your clients want right here, right now, and give them the best service. I've got to read you something else, and this happened in my office yesterday, just yesterday. I had someone come in, they are from a large bureaucratic organisation. They are a tiny little fern in the whole of the rainforest. I spoke to this particular fellow who was doing something in my office, and I said to him, what's it like to work for this organisation? As I do, you know, Mrs. Have a Chat. And he says, you know, they look after you well, but. And you could see him going, they look after you well, but. And what do you get? There's slumped shoulders and whatever. I said, talk to me about it. I wrote down his words and I asked his permission to use these words on the condition that he was anonymous, the person. He said, if we see something wrong, we know how to fix it. We just can't get it across to those decision makers and there is so much red tape to jump through. We know what is needed, but the people above won't listen. It's frustrating. How would you like one of your trees in the rainforest that you're trying to foster to come out and say that to one of your clients. We see something wrong and we know how to fix it. What do you say to your staff? Fix it. We just can't get across to those who make the decisions because there's so much red tape. What do? Make it easy for them. We know we need what's needed, but the people above won't listen. What do? You know, it's not difficult. It's not difficult because you, in small and micro business, have the opportunity now to be adaptable and flexible and grow your businesses the way that you need to grow them, the way that you want to grow them. And how do you do that? You do that with making sure that you get the intangibles. The intangibles like empowering your staff to make the decision. What happens if they make the wrong decision? They learn. At least they made a decision. And what happens if they make the wrong decision? It gives you an opportunity to go to the client and double your integrity because not only did you stuff up, I'm prepared to fix it up. So what happens? That client becomes an advocate for you. In the trust model in my book, you'll see advocacy is the highest form of trust. So what happens is they become your advocate. And in becoming your advocate, what does that mean? They tell everyone else. At the barbecue, over the beers, drinking the champagne on Friday night, in the rainforest where it's humid. I want you to think about what your features are and what those features are for all the right reasons. And I want you to think about what your business is as an emerging business. And why do I say emerging business? I'm saying, how many of you have been in business for longer than 5 years? How many of you have been in business longer than 10 years? Let me ask you about, for those that have been in your business for 10 years or longer, how much of your business has changed in that 10 years? A lot. Yep, quite significantly. And with the embracing of technology and information technology and all those inter-Google web thingies, it's going to become more and more that you have to evolve your business. Now, I will encourage you. There is something that small business has a huge opportunity to do right now that's pretty scary. But if you're prepared to take the scary path, it's up to you to make it work. And what is it? Let me say to you, in the mid-90s, people used to say to me, Brenda, what do you do? And I say, I'm a leadership specialist. And they'd say to me, there's no such thing as leadership. You can have managers and you can have leaders, but there's not leadership specialists. I said, that's fine, just watch this space. So what actually happens is, when you've got your first iPad, iPhone, whatever it is, what they've done very successfully is built a vertical integration chain. So how many of you poor people are on iPhones? Oh, I'd suggest you convert to Samsung because you know what? There's an alpha and a beta, and eventually you will find that the Samsung is the better product. But nonetheless, I'm happy for you to support Steve Jobs. But what I'm saying is, whether you are alpha or beta, whether you're a Samsung or an iPhone person, two people created that business. Body Shop, one person created that business. You have the opportunity, if you choose to have the flexibility and adaptability to grow your business to the size that you want. And that's really important. My husband and I used to run parallel businesses, different types of businesses, but the same. We got to the stage where at one stage we were paying someone to cook our food because we ate out all the time because we're too tired to cook, and I love to cook. We were paying someone to clean our house. We were paying someone to iron his shirts. I buy stuff that's not ironed. We were paying someone to mow our garden. I said, what are we doing? We're paying to keep everyone else employed. We sold all our businesses and took a 2-year holiday to Europe. So what I'm saying to you is business does not have to be bigger to be better. It has to be best to be better. So if you want to have the business that you need to deliver the best. and the best in not only what you do best, but also start building the best in emerging markets. And your emerging markets, how many of you know the story about Kodak? Why was there a demise in Kodak? Change, technology, they didn't adopt. Let me say to you, what people don't realise is that Kodak actually developed digital. They were the ones that developed it. And the people that made the decisions, just like the poor fellow in my organisation yesterday, they didn't listen. They told him to go back to the R&D area and don't tell anyone. Now, why didn't they tell anyone? Because they had 98% share of the photograph film market and 90% share of all the film that goes into like your movie films. So when you've got 98% share of one part of your market and 90% of the other, do you reckon you're going to embrace new stuff? Yes, you do, because you convince everybody slowly the new stuff's better. How many of you said your business is different now completely than it was 10 years ago? The only reason it's different is because people ask for different things and you need to educate them. So start taking on the new stuff now, so you've got time to educate them and you've got time to financially support that, instead of having to do the big switch and you can't do the big switch and suddenly what happens? Oh my gosh, I'm going to be like Kodak was in 2012 and I'm going to file for bankruptcy. You don't want to be in that position. So what I'm saying now is start looking at emerging markets, start seeing what is a complementary business to yours, and start seeing who you can work with to make sure that your business is better, because now is the best time to be in small business. Now is the best time for you to be able to make all your decisions that make your business the best, but make sure you know what you want as the leader in that business. I'll encourage you to think about your business as a rainforest. I'll encourage you to at least once a week walk into your business as if it was the first time that you've ever walked into your business. I will encourage you to look around your business and see the things that you don't usually see, because they're the things that other people see. Coming from an infrastructure background, completely terrible. Every time I walk into a building, I check out, any cracks in the walls, tiles laid straight, can't help myself, Why? Because it tells me about the workmanship of the building. Then I listen to the people, as I told about my supermarket experience. I'm pretty sly and devious. But in being sly and devious, it gives me the opportunity to be able to go up to people, like there's a particular hotel around at the moment, and they have got a terrible safety hazard. Terrible safety hazard. I've spoken to them at the reception area. I have spoken to their manager. I've been after there. 3 times I've told them about this safety problem. Slips, trips and falls are your biggest safety problem. And what happens? They still haven't addressed it. So what's going to happen? Somebody's going to have a slip, trip or fall, and they're going to go, oh wow, we will now have to pay out all this money and support and the poor person through trauma because somebody who they don't know drew something to their attention and they failed to do anything about it. So the second thing is, client feedback is the most valuable feedback you can get. Listen to it. Listen to it, look at your trends, bring the water down on your rainforest, get rid of your weeds, and you will have the rainforest with the amount of humidity that you want to be able to walk through and enjoy every day. I'll encourage you now to open your little boxes, and you'll see inside there, on the back there's a model, but on the front I've given some opportunities for you to, I've got my book with me today if you'd like to buy my book, but some people actually have a little box there with a signature on it. Is there anybody got a little piece of paper, not in your box, on the piece, take the piece of paper out of the top. On the front, somebody will have a signature in the little box. Yes, yes, there's 3 of them. There's a third one around somewhere. Where's the third one? No? Okay, who's got the, there's one over here. What have you got? Stand up and read out what you've got.
I've got the second box, which is I'd like to explore my business with a half-hour one-on-one site session with you.
Okay, thank you. What have you got?
I would like to explore my business with a half-hour one-on-one on-site session and purchase from the road.
Right, so there's a book, someone else has got one there with a signature on it that's got a book in it. Who else? There's a third one around, someone's... Oh, hello. Okay, so I'd like those people to come and see me later. I'm happy to talk to you further. Anyone else who wants to talk to me about it further, it's in your paper there if you want. There's a box there if you want to, and I'm happy to take questions. Anyone got questions?
I've got one.
Yep.
What's been your biggest turnaround with a business that you've worked with?
About 2 years ago, a national organisation, they had a COO who had resigned, Chief Operating Officer who resigned, and they had terrible culture and they had people who just didn't want to come to work. I had a meeting with the CEO and they've got offices the head office is in Brisbane, they've got an office in Sydney, they've got an office in Adelaide, an office in Perth and one in Victoria somewhere, I can't remember, but it's not Melbourne. And he came in and he said, Brenda, we are now such a well-oiled machine, I think I've made myself redundant. And I went, thank you. The other thing that I'm very, very proud of is for you that have been around here for a long period of time would have remembered when we were in drought and the Queensland government decided to build a series of advanced water treatment plants and pipelines. It was billions and billions of dollars. I was asked to build the high performance team for one of the advanced water treatment plants. We had a 35 megalitre a day plant. It was a legislated date. We had to pump water on that legislated date. We started with a team that said, this is impossible, we can't do it. And we ended up building infrastructure for a 100 megalitre a day plant, 50 megalitre a day filters, and we did it in the same time. We got awards for that, I'm very proud of that. In fact, it's the only letter I've ever had from apart from I had some from a Chief Minister, but I got a letter from the Premier saying congratulations on your award-winning team. We were pretty proud of that. Other questions? Yep.
Can you explain the difference that you see as a product and a feature that you spoke about?
Okay. A product is something that someone takes away. It's a physical thing that they might take away. So a product that somebody might take away from me is a process that will tell them whether this person's going to fit in their organisation. Or a product they might take away from me is that one-on-one session that I gave away. A product is something that a person will go to your business for. They know that they can get it from you and you are the best. A feature is the thing that keeps them going back again. So, how many of you drink coffee? How many of you go back to the same coffee shop because they make the best coffee? So that's the feature. The feature is the taste or the type of coffee. My husband goes to a particular coffee shop. They don't make the best coffee, but they look after him. They call everyone else's name out to pick up their coffee. They bring his to his table. He's an amputee. They bring his to his table. He goes to that coffee shop because he left his jumper behind. They rang him up and said, Werner, you left your jumper behind. So I don't believe they make the best coffee, but you know what? Their feature is the best service. So why do that's the difference. So the features are usually your intangibles. For mine, in my business, integrity is number one. Do what you're going to say you do when you say you're going to do it. Continual learning, continual sharing, number two. I've got 5 of them.
You said earlier that now is one of the best times for small businesses. Would you say that that's because what you've spoken about today is something ignored by big businesses?
It's not ignored. but it takes too long to have the machine work. So now is the time. It takes too long for the red tape, too long for the decision makers, and by the time they get the system in place to get it done, it's too late. So now is the best time, because someone will come to you and say, hey look, see this, I just need this changed a little bit. You don't say to them, well, fill out this form now and I'll send it to my supervisor who will approve it, and that'll take 48 hours. And once that's approved, you'll get an email to tell us that we'll allow you to spend our money with us. You go, not a problem. I'm pretty busy. When do you need it by? You know, do you ever get that from your larger people? No, you don't. So now's the time to be able to, and what's happened with information technology, it's sped up this expectation of need and want. I want it now because you didn't give it to me before I knew I wanted it. Other questions? Yep.
Identifying the weed is one thing.
Yep.
Removing the weed.
Removing the weed? Okay. The first thing is to ensure that you don't put the weed in there in the first place. However, because the weed's there, the first thing is about having the weed understand why they are a weed. I'll give you an example. I'll call the person in, and we'll call them Wendy, because Wendy's... Is there any Wendy's in the room? Oh, good. So I'll call it Wendy. Okay, only because it's Wendy Weed. And you'll call Wendy in and you'll say, Wendy, can you tell me what you believe that you're achieving really well here? I think I'm doing these things. And that gives you an opportunity to understand from their perspective whether they believe they're committed to it or not. Because you don't know, they might be out looking for all these other jobs because they don't like being there as well. So the first thing is, and the second thing is, you say to them, and do you believe that you're really happy and do you like working here? Yeah, I love it. What do you like most? Oh, the people are great and they talk all the time and we have fantastic morning teas. Haven't said anything about work yet. So that gives you an opportunity. The critical thing is to ask them first, because asking them first gives you a platform to build on from them. Because if you tell them first, they become defensive, they don't listen, they go off and they'll start saying, I'm going to start recording about you so I can report you. So the first thing is to get them on the side. Then what you do is say, well, I would expect these things from them. Start putting some key performance things on them. Do these particular things. If they perform, then you talk to them about, why can you perform when I've got framework around but you can't when I haven't? They might be a person who's high in prudence and needs that framework, and you found something new about them. I'll give you an exact example, and this is I was doing some work for Coca-Cola, and they had a receptionist who always got to work 10 minutes late. Every day, 10 minutes late. CEO said to me, we've got to get rid of that receptionist, she's 10 minutes late all the time, she's a weed, basically a weed in this organisation. I said, wait a minute, she's a fantastic receptionist, let me talk to her. Went out and talked to her. I said, okay, how do you like your job? Love my job. I said, and what about the hours? Hours suck. Her words, hours suck. Right, okay. Tell me about that, I said. She said, I travel a long way. I can take 2 buses. One that gets me here 50 minutes early or one that gets here 10 minutes late. So I take the one that gets me here 10 minutes late. I said, well, what happens if we start you half an hour later? Fantastic, I'll get to work 20 minutes early. So instead of them having her start that time and paying overtime at the end of the day, we started a half hour later and they didn't pay overtime at the end of the day, saved them money, kept the receptionist. Why? Because the CEO wanted to get rid of his weed because he didn't realise that she came to work on a bus. So the point is, you've got to ask them first. There's another process. The point is, you get to the stage, if they won't go and you don't go, you sit down and have the hard talk to them. And a lot of people don't like to have that hard talk, and the hard talk is something like, Wendy, you're really not trying to fit in here. You'll see how you've upset Bob in the tea room. You'll see how you're not performing on here. I would like to assist you in finding a job where you are happier. I would like to support you in giving you because these are the things you do really well, you just don't do them often enough. I'll give you another example. I employed a lady once. I didn't always get it right. Employed this lady once and I rang up and I said, and I'll call her Tommy. I'll say, can you tell me about Tommy? She's got the greatest work ethic. She's fantastic. Oh, good. I checked 3 referees. And they all told me how such a hard worker she was. And she was. I employed her. She's a fantastic hard worker, diligent, everything. Only thing they didn't tell me is that I had a cash flow business at the time, that she liked to help herself with the cash because that cash helped her to buy the marijuana that she needed and the pressure pack cream for her body. So when I went back to speak to these guys later, they said, well, you didn't ask me whether she was honest. And so then the next part of the story, there's a, what do they call that, prologue, whatever the end bit is anyway. So then I dismissed her. I weeded her out of my rainforest and she applied for a job with the council. And she put me down as a referee. No joke, she did. They rang me up. We've got referee Tommy's applied for a job here. They've put you down as a referee. I said to them, she's a fantastic hard worker, just don't put her anywhere near money. She got a job. What do you think she did? She was a parking inspector writing parking tickets. So you know what? What they did was find her an environment that suited her. She was a fantastic hard worker. Would you like to be out there pounding the streets in a huge amount of humidity? It was in Darwin, 98% humidity, 27 degrees, rains every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Do you want to be in that? I didn't. She did a great job and I got free parking in the city. Got any other questions? Thanks people, I'm going to be around. If you want to talk to me, happy to talk to you, happy anytime. I think my phone number's on that piece of paper. If it's not, you'll have my website there, my email address is there. Happy to talk to you anytime. Thanks.